And we've placed kids there in the past, and we still do. That he runs a really good program there. He has 6 kids that are graduating high school and that are going on to college. So he works really well with some of these boys. And right now, it is still a revenue that comes into juvenile hall. If there was ever an opportunity to where we were going to lose a revenue, then my suggestion would be to move our juvenile probation department down there in order to make it a more effective workflow. But while we're able to get some kind of revenue, I'd like to be able to get some kind of money. Some money is better than none.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think the issue is not whether or not the group home operator is a worthy operator. My impression is, and I know the gentleman who's actually the manager there, and I think they do an excellent job in providing service. I think the question is, should it be something that we should be subsidizing with the county general fund in terms of the operation? I would rather, we're spending the money for staff to be located in other locations, and I think by bringing the staff to that location can allow us to utilize the investment that was made by the public years ago for the benefit of the public. And I don't think it's, the group home operator, he could, there's a lot of empty buildings scattered all over Susanville, homes as well as businesses that I think could be at their expense renovated, and they could operate their excellent program in any one of those other locations. The fact that we are subsidizing the operation by giving them the favorable rate that we have. I mean, when you take $7,800 and multiply it by 6, you're talking about how much money per month, and we're being given $2,500 as being the offer on that. And I just find that given the monies that were made and the choices that were made by staff in the past, and I'm not criticizing existing staff, I think Jennifer is doing an excellent job of trying to resolve the situation, but to be honest with you, it's not really her decision, it's ours. And I think the board has not made a good decision over the years in terms of allowing the situation. And historically, when this comes up for a vote, I always take this position, and I don't mind being the odd man out and voting no and being the only one, but I think it's something that we should not allow to exist.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that this is recommended as only a one-year lease is that we're, as you all know, we're in the middle of this capital improvements study, space needs study. That would, if it's determined during that study that there is a better use for that, we can get out of this in a year. So.
That's a good more.
We did move it to a 1-year lease.
Yeah, okay. And then before this lease, what was the monthly rental?
$1,250 with no utilities.
Okay. I think just too for the benefit of the public and the board, just as a refresher, this basically came to be when it was identified in last year's budget what a big hit it was, the juvenile hall to the general fund. And you've done a really good job, and you went out to identify ways to close the gap, if you will. And this was one of the areas that you identified as to bring in some extra revenue. So, and you have. I mean, you've more than doubled the rent, and you've got to pay utilities. So, and a 1-year commitment. So, well done. But I think, and Supervisor Chapman does make some good valid points. We have a business which, on the outside seems to be a very lucrative and profitable venture, and we're renting them space, at a nominal fee. But with that said, I think the question is one that we need as a board members, or do we have a better use for this in the next 12 months, where we're going to save in excess of the $30,000 if we don't do this? If by not doing this, we could move people around, as Supervisor Chapman said, and it's going to come at a cost savings of $31,000, $35,000, $40,000, and that obviously is the way to go. But if we don't, if we don't have the ability to save in excess of $30,000, then I think this achieves what you were tasked with trying to achieve, which is closing the gap on the negative. So I guess Richard, do you know, do we have a way to earn more than $30,000 by if we booted
Well,
this program out?
If-
In this same
yeah,
area?
if we terminated the lease, which I believe expires at the end of this month, with environmental alternatives, then we would definitely have some significant remodel costs in making that suitable for office space. It's set up right now to be a group home, but just the structure of it's not set up to be office space. So we could do that and then move, I think what Supervisor Chapman is talking about is moving people out of the facilities that we own on Rib Street and taking them over there, and then, then we'd have that space available for some other facilities or disposal or what have you. I think it'd be premature to do that until we have the space needs plan in place, because the space needs plan may dictate that that's not the best use of that space, and so I'd rather have the year to design what we're going to do and then get out about it if it's the time to do so.
And it costs approximately $4,000 to $7,000 in order to hook up all of the electrical lines in there. That would have to be to outfit it for the computers and the phones that the probation officers use, and to pull some of the drywall and the doors out so that they can open back up again. And then I think when I was looking at it before, and this is just off the top of my head, it wasn't a significant amount of salaries and benefits that we would be saving, because we were going to look more at saving in our extra help and our overtime, because the juvenile hall would be able to pull a probation officer to cover for transports.
Well, I think the fact that it's limited just to a 12-month commitment on our part serves us well. In any case, is there any other board members that would like to weigh in on this?
I'm a little hesitant to subsidize a private practice like that also, but for a year term, as we study our capital improvement plan, I'm in support of that.
I think we could only label it as subsidizing if we're getting far less than market rental. I mean, if it's gonna be sitting vacant for the next 12 months, I would consider that capturing some income that we wouldn't otherwise have, but.
Okay, give a good deal too.
Yeah.
Change the terminology.
I don't even know if it is a good deal. I mean,
I think it's about the market value.
Yeah.
Well, I think the dynamics is bigger than just one location. I mean, you talk about the relocation, you've got a building over on Root Street that's costing us a fair amount of money to maintain. It's commercial space. It could easily be put back on the market and disposed of. We're not, so by consolidating our resources in that location, I think the efficiency of having probation staff there co-located where the juvenile hall is, and when need arises, which oftentimes happens, it gives flexibility to management. As Jennifer had sold us on that idea a year ago when we were having the discussion on the budget. But I just, you could take a year. I got to tell you, this discussion we have about let's go for a year and sort it all out is about the third time I've heard that approach taken in the last 10 years as we've tried to sort that out. And my plea to the board is, let's get it done. I mean, I'm going to, as long as I sit here, next couple of years, I'm going to be raising the objection on this issue. So a year from now, that excuse doesn't work. Just in my opinion, it doesn't work really now, because we could have taken that action. We're told we were going to be taking that action by previous administrations. And Richard's new, and I know he'll get it done where the others who aren't here didn't get it done. So anyway, I just point that out for what it's worth. But I tell you, it's been bizarre the way. We talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, this is a good example of waste, fraud, and abuse if people want to zero in on it. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen. I'd like to hear from the public. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody like to weigh in on this?
Just another reason that we need to have a capital improvement plan.
Just shout your name there. For the-
Jim Hodge, Susanville.
Thanks.
This is just another example of why we need to have a comprehensive capital improvement plan.
It certainly is, yeah. Thank you for that. And we are on our way to achieving that. Thanks for your input, and Gene, thank you for your help. And I think it's it's a big effort, and the more people that are helping and realizing that and contributing information and good positive dialogue is a good thing. And I'm sure the county will get there. And so, and Jim, you bring up some good points. I agree with you, and I think I would like to support this, and I appreciate your efforts. You were tasked with a job and you did it, but I also wouldn't mind this coming back up later in the year while I'm still here, and I would have no problem voting on a thing not to renew it if nothing's being done, if we're just kicking the can down the road.
Well,
So,
we hope to have that capital
Yeah.
improvements plan in place in the next few.
so before we're gonna take action on, we'll take your public comment.
Hey, Paul Staddy. That $6,000 or $7,000 a month being paid for the wards, can someone break that down to me and tell me where all that money each month is going?
We're not real privy to the private individuals' financial income statements and so forth, but Mel may have
I can
some.
address that a little bit. Melanie Brownlee, Health and Social Services. The state sets the rates for foster family agencies and private group homes and private foster care. And what goes into the rate are food, shelter, clothing, all the things that kids need. Plus they're around-the-clock staff at these places, and they have to meet minimum qualifications. And then they have to have a certain level of supervision and a certain level of services. And the rates are, in my mind, higher than they need to be, but they would not be as cheap as perhaps you and I might be able to take in one kid. But when you keep in mind that they take in 6 to 12 troubled kids at a time, it's
Starts to
It's a
look
big job.
profitable.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, action requested is to approve lease agreement and authorize the CAO and acting chief of probation, Jennifer Benning, to sign. Do we have a motion? Or we did, we had this, well, that was under discussion, it's been moved and seconded already, is that correct?
I forget.
It was so long ago.
I don't see anything. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Should
That must have been the one before.
we rewind the video? Okay, anyhow, just to make sure, let's,
I'd make a motion, Mr. Chair.
thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded at least once, we know that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I vote no.
Okay. Okay, you voted no, you voted aye?
No.
No, okay, 2 noes.
And the chair votes aye.
Well, I'm making progress.
Keep swinging, Joe.
All righty, well, thank you. Sorry we ran a little bit late. We'll go ahead and take our quick 5-minute recess.
I love you too. I will see you tonight. Tonight.
How are you?
We're about 20 I do. But you might want to ask them.
Congratulations. I don't know if I officially ever congratulated you. Glad I was able to come. Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Great season. How you doing? Great season's coming up. I'm getting ready.
Great, oh, you too.
Miss America wave?
I prayed way. Unless I'm driving, because then if I'm driving, I gotta do left-handed. If I'm on a sport day, left-handed way. That's what they all say.
Good, how are you?
Hang in there. Tom, how you doing?
Good, good. You get,
How's it going?
Still